This is good, the chai. Jesus saves, bro. That's true. Stay mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually fit. It's me. It's the GOC. Because if he's for us, no one else can be against us. Welcome back to Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel, here for Chaos Corner. I can't thank you guys and gals enough. We're less than a week away from Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to everyone out there and that's tuned in. I can't thank you guys enough. I say it once, I say it 1,000 times, and I'll continue to repeat it. Here for another episodic YouTube adventure. A little off the beaten path from the IWC and the pro wrestling community, but still in entertainment that involves my background. Go up to the description, read my profile, you'll see what I'm all about. You know my vast background in the world of pro wrestling and as a pro wrestling manager. Of course, behind the walls of law enforcement, serving this community, which I'm very proud of, for 25 years. Private investigator, bodyguard, personal security, broadcaster, color commentary, radio show host, actor, movies, national television, bounty hunter, repo man, private investigator. Do I have to continue to repeat it? Hall of Famer, humbled, honored, blessed, and truly thankful for this channel and for all of you. As I just said in the last video I posted, in a 25-minute opening monologue and reading you the testimonials and greetings and salutations, a venue that I formerly worked at through the 80s and the 90s, the legendary rock club and music venue of Toad's Place. This is where we're starting. Go back and check out the video I just put up, about 25 minutes, to give you all the background. If you've ever been in the greater New England, tri-state, northeast area, this was the place to be in the 70s, the 80s, into the 90s. So sit back and relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage. You see, I got the chai tea. It's great to be here in the bunker, 25 feet below the surface of the earth. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. In order to get respect, you have to start with respecting yourself. Once you do that, you open other people's minds to respecting you, because there's 3 types of people in this world. Those who don't know what happened, those who wonder what happened, and people like you and me, the GOC, that make things happen. Let's delve right into it. And as you know, on Storytime, we read this for the very first time together. So bear with me, my linguistic skills. If I rumble, stumble, fumble, and bumble, I'm just happy you're here. I'm here to provide a temporary distraction, much needed stress relief, and I hope I can provide that for you. Drop an elbow on that like button, share, subscribe, leave a comment, get your boy into the algorithm. Sit back and enjoy. We're doing this in parts, as I said in the first opening monologue. The time frame here, the book was written in 2021, just to let you guys know, from the owner of the legendary Toad's Place, Brian Phelps, and local columnist and music critic Randall Beach here in the Constitution State. A place that, as I said, I worked at for a couple of stints and worked there for several different bands throughout the years, from MVP to Crucible to Second Wind, so on and so forth. Even saw there Yngwie Malmsteen, to be able to hang out backstage, go downstairs in the dressing rooms. Listen, you talk about places like Gilley's in Texas, and I'm not comparing to them, or the Stockyard in Nashville, and the Whiskey A Go-Go, all those unbelievable places out in California, or even locally, the Great American Music Hall, the Agora Ballroom, and the venues right there as well. Long before the casinos ever came to this area, this was the place to be. Let's go back in the time machine for the legendary Toad's Place. Stories from the famed New England music venue. And of course, there's different chapters here. There's about 16 different chapters. Chapter 1 is The Toad is Born. We move on to Toad Goes National. Chapter 3, Billy Joel, U2, and much more. Chapter 4, The Stones Roll In. Chapter 5, Bob Dylan, All Night Long. Chapter 6, Bowie, Johnny Cash, Little Richard, and more. Chapter 7, Playing into the 21st Century. Chapter 8, The Local Bands, followed by The Celebrities. Chapter 10, no, I'm not mentioning it, but I worked with the two main characters. They were my boys for the time that I was there. Always treated me great. What professionals, what legit badasses. It's all about interpersonal communications. And that would be the bouncers of Tank and Whiskey. That's chapter 10. Chapter 11, You the People, the Crowds. Chapter 12, Big Mike. Chapter 13, the WPLR Connection, which is the most unbelievable classic rock station that's been in this state, in this greater New England tri-state northeast area for years. The leader in classic rock, WPLR, 99.1 FM. Chapter 14, that's right in the middle of Skull and Bones, I guess you could say. Right on the campus, the main campus, right off Broadway. A stone's throw from the Green, the Schubert, the Palace, etc. Cutler's Record Rack, do you remember that? And that would be the Yale Connection. That's right, Yale University. Oh brother, oh boy. And I was a 5-minute walk away from where I was attending university. Back from 81 to 85. Unbelievable experiences. Chapter 15, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. Chapter 16, The Road Ahead. So just to give you a breakdown, we got Brian Phelps' preface, Randall Beach's preface, a list of the bands who've played at Toads, acknowledgments about the authors. That's the breakdown of the book, the itinerary. But here we go. I'll even show you a couple of photos. If you can see it, there's the front door of Toad's Place, the front entrance. Stood in many a line there, and also checked many a IDs there, and threw many a people out there. And if you go around the corner, which is, you can't see on here, which is over this way, right here where my finger is, the index, threw many a people out that side door, which went right onto Yale campus. So just to give you a little history here. I know it's not crystal clear. I get it. Here's Brian Phelps, who was my manager, who was the owner of Toad's Place, one of the owners. This whole crazy story started with a broken window. In April of 1975, I was in my junior year at the University of New Haven, and also taking classes at karate school I owned above Cutler's Records in New Haven, around the corner from a new arrival on the block. A French restaurant called Toad's Place. That's right, a French restaurant. You see the connection, right? You guys got to stay here for the history alone. One night, an off-duty soldier on leave from his station in Germany got a little too drunk and smashed the window on the karate school's front door. He also stole the sandwich board sign we kept at the sidewalk entrance. We heard the glass breaking, so we ran downstairs, saw the shards, and noticed the sign was gone. We figured whoever had broken the glass door had also stolen our sign and couldn't be far. We started walking around the neighborhood and found the sign outside of Toad's. There were about 5 of us, and my buddies were all warmed up for a fight, as we all were in the streets of New Haven back in the 80s. Now it's all about the bling bling manjaling. We weren't going to let the window smasher get away. We walked into Toad's Place. I hadn't been in that space since it was Hungry Charlie's a couple of years back. That's right, Hungry Charlie's. You remember that, right? I shouted, does anybody know who put the sandwich board sign out front? "It's that guy over there," one of the patrons said. We were getting ready to move in on the perp when a big fellow with a welcome, easygoing smile approached us. I soon learned this was Mike Spernoodle. He was one of the restaurant owners, and he was also the bouncer. Mike didn't have any backup. "Let's talk this out," Mike said. He asked us to hold off as he called the cops. I said, "Okay, we'll wait for the cops to come." I asked my friends to back off. The cops didn't come right away, but we had the guy corralled in the corner by the popcorn machine. He had no way out of there. When the cops finally showed up, they arrested him. The next thing you know, he disappeared. He was back in Germany. It was the weirdest thing. Why would he break the window? But this was my relationship with Toad's Place and Mike Spernoodle started. That's how it started. This is Brian Phelps talking. He said, "Come on in anytime you want." He gave me a pass to get in for free and told me, "Come in and talk and hang out." That was the beginning of our friendship. I never got the money for the broken window, but my whole life changed because soon afterward, I became a part of Toad's Place, like I did and many others. That's what makes it so special. I know my buddy Kevin Castle from the DT and KC show. Big shout out to Kev, who's been in the rock club venue security business for a long, long time, dating back to the 90s, working the clubs in New York. So if anyone could relate to this, it would be KC, Kevin Castle, from the DT and KC show, the OGs of podcasts in the IWC, my brothers. So Kev, I hope you check this out. I hope someone sends it to you. You could probably do a book or write a book or have a show about your experiences just like I did. We are kindred spirits, KC, not only through the wrestling business and sports entertainment, but also the music industry and venues. That's why I respect you, my brother. You tell it like it is, like the GOC. As nutty as it sounds, everything would be different if that guy had never broken the window. Talk about that. Let's go on to the writer's preface. Randall Beach, again, a local guy here that's been around for years as a journalist, a columnist, another guy that I respect his work. And if anyone knows about the 70s and 80s into the 90s and just this whole community and the atmosphere, it would be Randall Beach. My first and earliest memory of Toad's Place is from the fall of 1977. Now let's see. What am I, like, I don't know, 16 years old at the time? Had already heard about Toad's Place, but hadn't gone off to college yet, so I hadn't been down there to experience. Now remember, at my age, the drinking age at one time was 18 years old. For years, 17 and 18 years old, before it went up to 21. Whatever year that was. I mean, somebody Google it. No, don't go Google it. Use DuckDuckGo. It's a more private search engine, but Big Brother's watching anyway. As you can see, as I'm always interrupted about who's walking around the Ponderosa here in the grounds. Got to stay prepared. Where are we? We're in the fall of 1977 when I beheld the spectacle of Meatloaf on stage. He was sweating profusely and roaming back and forth while clutching a long red scarf and belting out, "Paradise by the dashboard lights." And I thought, what a great place this is. I'll be back. But I couldn't imagine that the performers I would see there in the years to come would include the Rolling Stones, Billy Joel, Bob Dylan, just to mention a few. I arrived in Connecticut in January 1975. The same month, Toad's opened its doors. Take your notebooks out, write this down. January 1975. But for the next 2 years, I worked and lived in Wallingford, a one-horse town about 20 minutes north of New Haven. Eventually, I developed the habit of getting on I-91 and driving down to Toad's, which was just then beginning to blossom as an exciting venue for live music. So we'll relate it to the time frame of the show that you're watching. It opened up in 75. I told you where I was, how old I was. Opened up in 75, and 1981 is when I hit that scene. Maybe even 1980. Remember that. So at 17, 18, bang, I'm already down there. Thereafter, shortly thereafter, I started working there as a part of their bouncers, which now they call security, but we were fucking bouncers. Make no mistake about it. We'd bounce you right out of there, man. Eventually, in January 1977, I moved to New Haven to begin a reporting job with the New Haven Register. I wouldn't live in New Haven now. Got to make sure you're packing down there. Per capita, per population, the density, one of the highest crime rates across the country, right here in the Constitution State. From New Haven to Hartford to Bridgeport to Stamford to Norwalk to New London. For this small state of 3.5, 4 million people, to have the crime rate per population, per capita of someplace like Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago, Miami, it's facts. Go out and research it. Research it as your friend, and that's why you come here. So you're better off when you walk out than when you walked in, so you actually fucking learn something. No offense, man. Kayfabe, I apologize for the cussing. But I'm in the venue. I'm in the rock club, man. Cut me some slack. A little more hardcore down here. After seeing more great acts at Toads, including the Talking Heads and the Ramones, let all this sink in. Put it in your pipe and smoke it. I talked my editors into letting me pioneer the rock music beat at the Register. This enabled me to get free tickets to cover the shows at the New Haven Coliseum, where I saw Queen and The Who. Saw many great shows at the New Haven Coliseum myself. From the old New Haven Blades, the hockey team, the New Haven Nighthawks, New Haven Ninjas and arena football. Of course, to many boxing events. The home of the WWF was the New Haven Coliseum for years. Really was an amazing venue. The concerts from the 70s and 80s, and I even worked there as security. This is a great stress reliever for me and brings back floods of memories. I got goosebumps and chills running through my spine right now here on Chaos Corner. I hope you can appreciate the personal connection here. In addition, but it was the performance at Toads that I much preferred for their intimacy and close vantage points. In addition to the Stones, Billy Joel, Dylan, I also enjoyed and saw Cyndi Lauper, David Crosby, Donovan, the Roches, Roger McGuinn, Ricky Lee Jones, Iggy Pop, and dozens more. I was also able to snag backstage interviews with Tom Waits, John Prine, Commander Cody, Warren Zevon, and yes, Weird Al Yankovic. The atmosphere at Toads had a way of putting them at ease. When Brian Phelps told me in the fall of 2019, right before the scandemic,
motion detected at front camera.
Who do you think it could be? Is it Roma, Mancini, somebody from Paradise Alley? Is it Brian Phelps? Is it Randall Beach? Are they coming down here to sit live for my book review? I'm always watching, just know that, and you better be too. Brian Phelps told me in the fall of 2019 he was working on a book that would tell the amazing storied history of Toad's Place. I suggested he bring me on board for a collaborative effort. Should have brought Phil Cutler on here too, man. He would have been something. Cutler's Record Racks, Big Phil, what a great guy. Then he ended up owning the Phoenix Gym, I believe. Now Phil's about 6'8", about 250, 60 pounds. He was dragged and jacked, shredded, buffed, like shredded wheat, man. Haven't seen you in a long time, Phil. I hope you're doing well. Again, Randall Beach suggested to the New Haven area and to Brian Phelps to bring him on for a collaborative effort in writing this book. I was gratified, and he quickly agreed to forming this partnership. The Toad story is how two partners Brian Phelps and Mike Spernoodle used their passion and skills to make Toads nationally known as a major music venue despite holding only about 750 people. We went over that many, many times already as far as the crowds and how many people were jammed into the legendary venue, right? You guys get it, right?
Motion detected at front camera.
Very busy in the area here right now. Don't think I don't see you. While working on this book, I have often thought about how sad it is that Spernoodle, so young, at 59, I also regret he wasn't here to tell me about how he got Toad started and propelled it forward. Mike Spernoodle, another good guy that I briefly had interactions with because Brian was my direct manager, my direct boss. They treated me great there. The pay wasn't great to start with. Remember, we were in the early 80s. And it would have been, as Randall Beach says here, it would have been great to have Spernoodle be a part of this, but obviously he passed away at a young age of 59, so rest in peace, Mike. Let me get back to here. Alexa, play Tropical Thunderstorm sounds. That's a great atmosphere for this read. Again, we're reading this together for the first time. But Brian is still at the helm.
Motion detected at front camera.
Bueller? Bueller? Anyone? Hello? McFly? Is anyone home? Very busy here around Chaos Corner. But Brian is still at the helm and has done a remarkable job keeping Toads going amid all the changes in the music industry. That's right, Toad's Place is still open to this day. Here in 2024, going into 2025. It's not like it was in the 70s and 80s, even into the 90s, but just the atmosphere.
Motion detected at front camera.
Are you guys out there? Is that you? Austin? Tribal Queen? Are you here already? Stand by. I wonder if I'll be able to get through this part. This is entertainment. That's why you're here. Again, Brian Phelps still at the helm of Toad's Place 2024 going into 2025. He shows no sign of quitting, even though as I write this in April 2021, that's the time frame we're in, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced him to shut down his club for more than a year. And he faces more months of uncertainty before he can again throw open the doors. Remember where we are in the middle of the pandemic as I read this. When this book was written, thank the good Lord above, the things have worked out some sort that we've been able to move on, move forward. There's always something right around the corner. You guys know I always throw this in here because it's reality, it's the truth. I tell it like it is, and that's why you're here. And this is when they were writing this book and what Brian and Randall and passing of Spernoodle had happened. Again, this is where we are. An unbelievable read. Again, the legendary Toad's Place. I don't want to berate and go on and on, but we're going to be here. We're going to do this in an episode, a series of episodes here. Break it up into part 1, part 2, part 50, whatever it has to be. The Toad saga embodies what many of us experienced during those wild, fun-filled nights of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. Paraphrasing Billy Joel, one of the legendary artists who graced that stage and who I was privileged to see there, we loved those days. Really did. What a time to be a young man, a young boy growing up in the 70s, and then into a young man in the late 70s into the early 80s. What a time to be alive. So don't go anywhere. 25 minutes. This is part 2 These are the prefaces. These are the memoirs. These are the greetings and salutations. Whatever you want to call them. The reviews from certain people. Testimonials of the famous people. And the relationship of the legendary Toad's Place. Don't go anywhere because we're coming right back. This is only going to get better. And I guess we'll start off with Chapter 1. The Toad is Born. I'll say that to say this, because I tell it like it is. Come on back, man. Don't go anywhere. It only gets better from here. And don't you dare miss it.